Hi, James here again from RC Helicopters and Hobbies. On our test bench today we have a Hughes 600 ESP. It's actually a tow defender which has got jets and everything sticking out of the side and a few extra bits and pieces, but they're all basically internally the same, the Hughes 600 ESP. When it arrives in its large box, the legs are going to be off. All you need to do, it's very straightforward, stick the legs in and attach them. Put a little bit of glue on the insides if you wish, or a screw, but a little bit of heat glue we find is probably the perfect way to do it. Also the back tail will be off. There's bolts that'll be supplied, and you can see very straightforward how to put the tail on and the top section as well. The tail blades will be off as well. Just bolt those on, making sure that's the rotation direction. Inside your heli you have a lot of wires and everything. Basically we've changed a couple of things. By now you only need one 7.4 volt battery, 1000 amp hour or more, whatever fits inside here, but that's a perfectly good battery for this helicopter, which will run both your cooling fan and your UBEC. The UBEC is a regulator that regulates power to the internal electronics of your helicopter. Plugging that in, just negative to negative, positive to positive. There's a black plug here. Inside you can see the prongs. You just carefully plug that in. There's Velcro on the inside of your helicopter. Just put the Velcro on your battery, stick that in there, and the battery sits there perfectly. Now this is going to give your fan, your cooling fan power, as well as your ESC, or sorry, your UBC. Your radio, this one is in mode 2. When you've gotten to this stage, you've plugged that battery in, you switch your radio on. All the switches on the front are up and all the switches on the top are back, and your throttle is all the way down. You turn your, make sure your battery is plugged in, turn your UBC on. You will see on the UBC there's lights. This is the battery power level lights, stating how much power is in your battery. If the greens disappear, most definitely charge this battery. It's always best to have more power than less, obviously. But now that's all switched on, you can test your equipment like such. You can see that everything's working. You can turn your fan on, make sure that that's working. Everything's going good. The next thing you want to do, make sure your throttle is down. The main batteries for these is 22.2 volt 5000 amp hour battery. We believe the best supplier is Hobby King for these. They're very cheap and they do a good battery. Sits on the front with Velcro. You can use straps if you wish, but you're not flying 3D, so a large amount of Velcro is sufficient for scale flying. Make sure you don't put your main blades on for this process. Just make sure that everything's clear. Plug your negative in, plug your positive in. That's a signal to tell you that your heli's ready. If the signal continues to run, there's a problem, but that's the sound that it gives and your heli's fine. Now, ever so gently, making sure you're clear of all these spinning parts, ever so gently just raise your throttle. then straight away disconnect one of the leads from your main battery. You can go ahead then, turn your UBC off, turn your cooling fan off, and turn your radio off. And then basically that conducts the test. You're comfortable with how it all works, and as long as it does all that when it arrives, which it should, it'll work for you. Now you can go ahead and put your main blades on, and making sure that they're not too tight, not too loose, and they're balanced. Good luck.